What's going on, everyone? I'm joined tonight by unbeaten lightweight champion in Cage Warriors, Mason Jones. So you got the belt there, nice and shiny.
Yeah, mate. Can't get used to it. It's still weird. It's been since March, and I'm still getting used to it. But yeah, it's a good look on me, I think.
Yeah, keeping it ready for September.
Keeping it ready for September.
Good to hear. Obviously, you caught the title. It was vacant. Obviously, when Chai got signed by UFC. You'll be next up for that, won't you?
Well, hopefully, mate. I'm hoping to get on an Abu Dhabi card in about November. But I'm staying active. I'm staying working. So obviously, whenever they give me the call, they give me the call. Just staying undefeated and working and improving. And I feel really good at the minute. So it's all going well.
Nice. With the Cage Warriors 113 event back in March, obviously last minute sort of arena change and opponent change. I mean, quite a sort of adversity to overcome. But you obviously did it with style. Was it weird going in there without a crowd? Is that the first? Is that sort of something you're not used to? You're used to having quite a because I know a lot of the Cage Warriors cards are in Wales. You sort of normally used to sort of a big back in, or was it weird stepping in there with no crowd?
Nah. I know it sounds weird, but it just sort of the only thing that was weird is before we made the walk, the holding area for your opponent is literally on the other side here with a tiny little cloth sort of divider, and like we could hear him, we could hear his corner. So it was just sort of it was a little bit weird in our aspect of things. But everything else, you just sort of do the job. Do you know what I mean? Like I enjoyed the walk. I try to sort of like keep myself like obviously it's just trying to stay calm because I get so excited before I fight. So I had a little dance down, and then as soon as the cage door shuts and you do the whole drag it out where they introduce you and they introduce your opponent, then you have to do touch gloves in a minute. Like I hate that. I just want to get in there, just lock the doors and let me go. Do you know what I mean? So they got all that done, and I just switch on and let it go. Do you know what I mean? And obviously this time was different because it was a lot easier to hear your coaches, and I don't know. It is a weird atmosphere, but it's so hard thinking back because obviously not so much because it was back in March, but just because it's just so much of a sort of like not of a blur, but because you're so focused and you're so sort of like streamlined, is trying to remember the details is really difficult. But yeah, I don't think it was different. It was just another fight. Do you know what I mean? Obviously the change of opponent was slightly different for this one. So my Italian opponent pulled out with medical issues. Then I had a French opponent who failed his medicals. And then I had short notice. They offered me, obviously, I can't remember. What's his name? Joe.
Is it McClogan? Yeah.
McColgan. Oh, sorry, mate. I'm just half asleep. It's been a long day. Do you know what I mean? I have 4 sessions a day, so I've been flat out. But yeah, obviously I had Joe. Joe is a credible, really credited guy. Someone I watched for a long time. Someone I had a game plan in the bank for. So we was happy to take it. As soon as my coaches all said, yeah, I jumped at the chance, and I got the job done.
Yeah, certainly did. I mean, what's it like having that belt wrapped around your waist? Is it sort of everything sort of becomes reality? Is it sort of like, you know, you've worked so hard for it, and to finally have that around your waist, you know, I mean, you're not far in. That was your ninth fight, you know. So, but I mean, you've still been working hard from a young age. I mean, to have that wrapped around your waist, it's got to be a great feeling, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was definitely a great feeling. Obviously, when you watch it back, I don't look that happy when he's putting the belt around my waist, but it's more so I just had things I really wanted to say. I wanted to make sure I had everything correct. And I was thinking what to say, and then I was sort of like in the back of my head, I was like, oh crap, I hadn't actually smiled yet. So then I was trying to smile, and the cameras already moved on. But yeah, it was a crazy good feeling, and it didn't really sink in until afterwards. We had a sort of my dad had surprised me and rented like a boat apartment. And we was all my family and all was there. I knew they were there, but obviously I didn't know there was a boat apartment. So we all had a bit of a party on there. And just to see how happy like my family was, my coaches were, and that sort of was the main thing. Because for me, it's always a weird feeling after a fight because I get so hyped up and I get so excited for the actual fight that always after it you get an adrenaline dump, and it's like, oh, well, what's next? And then it's sort of like you don't want to get into that sort of mindsets. You try and enjoy the ride and sort of enjoy it, but it's just sort of like it's like a pause. But to see how happy everyone was and my coaches were, it's the first time I've seen some of my coaches really show sort of happiness. When I know that sounds a weird thing to say, but to really show how much it meant to those as well. That's what really cemented it and really made it for me, I think. Afterwards, because we had just gone into lockdown, I couldn't really show many people, and obviously I saw a few people, but nothing crazy because of all the lockdown rules. So that did take a little bit from it. Whereas now there's still some people, like I went training Tuesday, and I had to take the belt for some media stuff to do with the gym. And there was boys there asking me for photos, and they're like, "Oh, we still haven't seen it yet." I'm like, "Oh well," it just feels weird bringing it to training now because it's been such a long time. But after the next fight, I think it'll bring everything back up, and I can bring it back to the gym, and I think that'll sort of be my homecoming then.
Yeah, well, it's good to hear that you're going to have sort of a proper celebration, as it were. I mean, as you say, a bit weird circumstances, winning the belt and then not being able to show anyone, but you know, at least we've got September to look forward to. Hopefully, getting back to some normality. I think that's going to be no fans again, but I mean, it's an exciting trilogy, 3 nights of fights. I mean, not just settling for one night, 3 nights, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Well, Saturday, so I should be. I think the way things are going, I'll be main event on the main night on the Saturday, so I should be main event at the main event. So you can tell how much of a big fight it's going to be.
Well, I was going to say, you know what they say, save the best till last, then, eh?
Best to last, yeah. So this is my biggest challenge to date, and it's going to set a lot of Welsh records and a lot of, well, Cage Warriors records. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, you're the 4th Welsh Cage Warriors champion.
4th Welsh Cage Warriors champion. Obviously, 1st Welsh lightweight champion. But yeah, so this I'm not going to get to it. It's released on Monday, so I'm not sure when you're going to release this. When you think of releasing this?
Possibly tomorrow. If not, then probably Saturday.
So I can't really say, but we'll have to hold out.
So when's the announcement coming? Monday or?
Monday,
I was going to say I'll see your Instagram that it's signed and all said and done. But
yeah, to be fair, my opponent signed off quite quick as well, so it was nice. I sent mine off. I had email at about 9:15, and by 9:30 is all signed, sealed, and sent back. Then mine had been co-signed because obviously it has to be signed by a Cage Warriors rep. And then about an hour and a half later, I had the opponents sent through after that had been co-signed as well. So 2 of us were quite quick on it. So it was all done. So yeah, just really excited for the announcement.
I suppose
you won't predict who it is. Like I know a lot of people have been predicting and they're all completely wrong. So that is sort of, it's going to surprise a lot of people. And like I said, it's a big move by me.
Any hints? Any teasers?
I can't. That's but it's exciting news. It is exciting news. And like I said, I win this fight, I'll be signed by UFC in November, 100%.
Nice. Have you had any contact from the UFC prior to this, or?
Not so much, no. Obviously, I don't know whether they've mentioned anything. My manager, I know. Obviously, I train out in Team Alpha Male with Uriah Faber a lot.
Yeah.
He's mentioned before that they've spoken about me with Sean Shelby, and that my name's been brought up, and that there is people watching. And I spoke to him when Joe got announced. I FaceTimed him, gave him a call, and was speaking to him, and told him about the opponent, and he said, "I'll have a quick look." And then he got back to me and literally was like, "Yeah, mate." He's like, "I've seen you in the gym. There's nothing new there for you. You'll run through him." He said, "Do a good job." He said, "Get a good finish because they are going to be watching this because obviously it was the only sport on. So if they'd be watching anything, they'd be watching now." And I was waiting for a call, didn't get a call. So on the next one, I'll put a good finish in year, and then I'll look for the call again. I don't get a call, I'll just put someone else away, and keep going until they decide, oh yeah, actually we'll try him. So that's all I can do, and I feel so much better. So I had 2 weeks off after the fight with all the isolation rules, and then I was back in the gym with my kicking coach. He didn't really have any at-risk family. We moved up to my place, so my girlfriend moved in with me, my family, just because we stayed away from all my family, and her granddad passed away the Wednesday before I fought. So I fought on the Friday. Her granddad passed away on the Wednesday. So her nan was at risk. So her mum and dad was going to look after her nan, so she came up and stayed with me. So she didn't actually see her parents for, God, eight weeks. Like, she FaceTimed, but she didn't actually go down and see them, and that was a weird thing for her, I think. But like you said, it's strange times, and it's strange circumstances, so we didn't want to put anyone at risk. Her granddad just passed from just old age. I think his heart failed him in the end, but he was 90 something years of age, so it was a good death. You know what I mean? Like, he's lived a long life. So
he had a good innings, as they say.
But he'd done a lot with his life as well. So sort of we was dealing with that. And she still came up and watched me fight, and that was sort of that was obviously a massive thing for me, because it was I would have fully expected if she didn't, but she come up, and obviously we dealt with stuff afterwards. But it was weird circumstances. But yeah, so because she was up staying with me, we stayed away from everyone at risk, so we trained right the way through. So I was training about 5 days a week, only like 1 or 2 sessions, getting some gradual runs in, and then I cut my runs back a bit. My boxing coach shut back in, and we started mixing up. So I worked right the way through. I'm like, this is the best my kicking's ever been. My wrestling's gone through the roof. So I know that sounds weird, but it was just because sort of like when we got back, everyone was sort of like, we'd missed wrestling a lot, so we were trying to get loads of wrestling in. And the main thing I haven't done is boxing sparring. I've done a lot of boxing pads, but I've been trying to push my boxing sparring now, which is normally my strongest aspect, whereas at the minute it seems to be falling a little bit behind everything else. So that's quite a good thing, because I've got 7 weeks now to tighten my boxing up and get my boxing back where it is, which is usually my strongest aspect, so it will improve the quickest back the way it was. So this is going to be the best shape I've ever been in. It's going to be the best recovery I've ever had, and I'm really looking forward to putting on a good, really, really strong performance.
Yeah, with the recovery and everything, obviously you last fought in March. Do you think that helps you going forwards to September? Because it's sort of, you're sort of a fresher fighter as people that have stayed out for longer.
Yes and no. Obviously, we don't stay in camp year round. So when you're back training, you're sort of resting, you're eating high volumes. Like, I go up, I gain quite a bit of weight. Like, nothing stupid. I don't really get fat. I always get thick. I've got a weight build on me anyway. So I always look, like, people always say, oh, you should go down to featherweight. And I'm like, look, I'll never go down to featherweight. Like, I sit at about 83 kilos. So I'm not small for a 70 kilo fighter, you know what I mean? So, like, I normally do about a 12 kilo cut. It's normally about 12 by the time I get back training, and I start dragging it out, and I normally diet down to about 79, empty my stomach and get to about 47, and then I water cut from about 47 to about 77 to 70. Sorry about that. So it's usually a decent cut for me. This time, like, the cut was difficult, but we didn't struggle. Do you mean I got it done in the time we used every second of time we had allotted? I think it was like 30 minutes before weigh-in started that I was about right on weight. So it worked out perfect, to be honest. It was a perfect cut. I recovered really well. I think that was the best recovery I've ever done. We got in touch with a new hydration company. They sweat tested me and did all sorts of things leading up. It was after my Alexei fight, and I tried them in training camps, and they worked really well. So we used them for this fight recovery, and I just felt a lot better. I recovered. I felt fitter. I recovered quicker. I know I was wee and clear. Obviously, that's the best way to describe it. A lot earlier than normal. So obviously, I was hydrated a lot quicker. Because that's the main thing, is like, people rush foods and they rush solids, but it's all hydration. Do you know what I mean? Like, you want to protect your brain, get your brain back fit, get your enzymes back flowing. So my enzymes on my tongue, like, I've seen people go straight from weigh-ins to sit down and try and eat a steak like 90 minutes after they've made weight. And it's like, you're just not going to digest it without the fact that red meat takes such a long time to digest. So everything to me is sort of like recovery shakes, rehydration shakes, and then we'll gradually go on to some fruit, some easy soluble foods with digestive enzymes, making sure that you're actually digesting the food, taking your time on the fluids, and gradually putting it in. And I normally weigh in at 70 kilos, and I normally fight around 78.5 kilos. So I normally put 8.5 kilos back on after weigh-ins before I fight. So that's usually it's normally why I look quite bloated, like a barrel walking in there. But I feel good. So if I'm feeling good, I'm obviously fit. And like I said, I don't think I've lost a round in 9 fights. I don't think I don't think I've lost. Let's put it this way: I don't think 3 judges have scored me losing a round. So it is what it is.
And you've had quite a sort of mix of finishes. You've had a couple of submission wins, a couple of knockout wins, and a couple of decisions. I mean, you know, what's the plan for this one? Is it again getting a? Is it is it always a stoppage, or are you sort of, or do you just take it how it comes? I guess by the submissions and knockouts and decisions, you're sort of happy wherever the fight goes, really.
Well, to be fair, obviously the Lexi fight I should have finished with submission. I just made some mistakes, stupid mistakes, things I really need to work on. And I think that's what really shows why Cage Warriors is so important, because we got to close those gaps before you go to UFC and you really start dealing with sharks. Do you know what I mean? Like against someone in UFC caliber, making those mistakes, like taking the cuts against Alexi where I got a bit brash and I rushed and I didn't I didn't sort of cut the cage away. I sort of chased, and then obviously I took the 2 cuts, got the takedown secured, and then I just didn't finish. Like I just couldn't finish Alexi. Alexi was really tough. He stayed in there, and I just made multiple mistakes. So I closed them up now. Like they could have cost me a fight against someone in UFC. Like you make those mistakes, the job's done. So it's always about improvement. And I'm just flying at the minute. So obviously I got 3 decisions, 3 submissions, and 3 TKO finishes.
Yeah. Sorry, 3 of each.
Whether I got another TKO finish, whether I got another decision or submission, it'll just be another win. But I always look to finish. Like I'm always actively trying to finish. And the way I'm feeling at the moment, I think I could knock someone out or I could sub someone. It'd be lovely to knock someone out with a kick this time. Like my kicking's really feeling strong at the moment. I'm really catching people, so it'd be nice to knock someone out with a kick. But if I get a submission or if I get a decision win, it'll just be another win. It doesn't really matter. Like this fight is high caliber and high sort of high profile enough that a win is going to be enough. But I always look to finish. I always look for an exciting fight. Like you'll never look at a Mason Jones fight and think, oh, that was a boring fight. I always go out there and I always push the pace, and I always get a dominant win.
Yeah, and being 9-0, you're only 25 years old. I mean, do you still feel yourself developing as a fighter, or do you think you're sort of there? Or
no. Every second I get delayed before I go into UFC is a better version of me that develops. Do you know what I mean? That is the way I'm building myself up, and that is why I always train. Like I'm always practicing to improve, and so I'm really hypercritical on my performances. I love critique. I love it when I turn to a gym and people say, "Look, well, why do you do it that way?" And I'll explain, like, well, try doing it this way. And it makes things so much better. So, like, my kicking, the last couple of years, so I've been kicking with my Taekwondo coach since I was, 18. So, what's that, 7 years? 7 years we've been working together. And this COVID stuff just really clicked stuff for me, because the McColgan fight, like, my calf kicks were going in, but nothing else was. Like, kicking wise, like, obviously my hands were firing off lovely. My footwork was nice. My wrestling was perfect for what I wanted to do. But just my kicking wise, like I threw a reverse side kick and the distance was massively off. It was just sort of, I couldn't get my distance on my kicks. So we really improved and we really flowed. And like I'm dropping people in training with my kicks. And that's not me going in and then trying to boot the smithereens out of people. Do you know what I mean? Like being an idiot. That's going in there and just my timing, and like they've literally said, like I just didn't see it coming, and it's really scoring and it's really good, and my wrestling feels good. Like I'm fighting against big guys and like really legit fighters, and I'm taking them down and I'm controlling them and I'm defending. I'm really hard to keep down. I just feel good. I just feel really good.
It's good to hear that you're in great shape. Obviously, Wales as a whole is quite hot on the MMA scene right now. I mean, what do you think is attributed to that? Obviously, I don't live in Wales, so I don't know if there's more sort of MMA gyms opened up over there, or what do you put it down to?
So, Cage Warriors Wales, obviously, Cage Warriors Wales used to be the Pain Pit show. Pain Pit was good, but there was no progression. There was no way to progress. Like you progressed from Pain Pit, and then you had to try and get picked up by Cage Warriors, and it was a hard progression. So when they crossed and paired together to create Cage Warriors Wales, that is what really sped everything up. You had Marshman, who was about ready to pass across, and Brett Johns. Obviously, Brett Johns went first. He had a crazy burst, then he won the title, and then he went. Marshall was there ready to go. But I think the biggest growth in Wales is do you know what I mean? It's these guys. It's people like Brett. It's people like Marshman. It's people like John Phillips. It's people like Jack Shaw. Like they're really pushing it. Like Jack Shaw is the hottest prospect out of the UK right now. Obviously, that burns me because I want to be the
Apart
hottest
from you.
prospect. I want to be the hottest prospect, but Jack is flying and Jack is dominant and he's just making very good people look very bad. And he just dominates. And like it's an exciting, like as a fan, it's exciting to see. As a fighter, it's exciting to watch. And you watch and you think, look, that is how you need to be winning fights. Like if I'm not knocking people out, I need to be controlling like that. And I just wish all these guys the best. And I love seeing Brett do well. I like Brett had a wicked win. On Fight Day, and he fought a really tough person, and he had some
against another prospect, really. You know, shut him down, Montel Jackson.
He did perfect. Do you know what I mean? Whether it was a boring fight, people say or not, I loved it.
I didn't think it was. I thought his clinch work was brilliant. Took him down, and grinded it out, really.
Rounded out, and he did what he had to be done. And do you know what I mean? Like these boys, it's exciting to see, and it's exciting to see them, and it's exciting to know they're doing well and really pushing things. And I just want to be one of them. I want to be one of those mentioned as a UFC fighter. And like I'm not really interested in Bellator. I do want to be in UFC. I want to be listed as Mason the Dragon Jones. Do you mean the newest thing in UFC, tearing through people, and to go in and obviously to fight in the lightweight division. Like I will go on record and say, the lightweight division is the hardest, the toughest division in UFC at the moment. Like I think it is. Like it's just sharks on sharks. Like you can't get into the top 10 division unless in the top 10 of the division unless you are legit, like beyond legit. Like Dan Hooker, Paul Felder.
It's stacked.
Khabib, Ferguson, McGregor. Like where they hate them or love him, McGregor is still up there. Do you mean like that's just six I can mention off the top of my head? And you got I can mention
Poirier, Gaethje.
I mentioned Poirier, didn't I? I mentioned Gaethje. Yeah. You got Alaquinta. There's loads. There's I can't name him. I can't honestly. What's his name? Who's the Barbosa? There's
he dropped down to featherweight for his last one, didn't he, against Ego? Do you think Barbosa will come back up to lightweight?
Well, that's the thing. Like you get welterweights who cut down to lightweight because a lot of lightweights walk around as welterweights, and then you get like I myself, like I said, I walk around 83 kilos, so I'm walking around bigger than like a middleweight. Do you know what I mean? But I'm small for lightweight still. Like you get Khabib, who apparently goes up to 90 kilos.
Yeah.
Ferguson goes up to 90 kilos. Because I know for a fact that who was it who just lost the featherweight belt? Max Holloway goes up to 82 kilos for featherweight. He walks around 80 kilos.
That's crazy.
Do you know what I mean? So like Dan Hooker always walks around in camp at 85 kilos. So he's cutting 15. Do you know what I mean? Like these are these guys. So I'm happy and I'm growing and I'm getting bigger and like I'm able to deal with welterweights. That's the thing. Like I spar with welterweights. I enjoy training with welterweights. Like I was just training with Lou Long. Give me a lovely little bit of a bruise, but I was training with Lou Long. Me and Lou just had some crazy good rounds. I train with Aaron Khalid a lot. When I'm out in Team Alpha Male, I train with Max Griffin, who's a legit welterweight. There's some other guys out there I train with, who are big guys, some big lightweights, and lightweight's hard because it's like featherweight and welterweights, they both dip in between, whereas sort of middleweights don't seem to go anywhere. You guess the odd middleweight will go up, but they normally stay there, and you get the odd welterweight, they'll go up the middleweight and come back down. But normally it's like feather, light, and welter because they're so dense to get together. They float between all three. And like I say, I just think lightweight is the toughest division in UFC, and that is biased or not. That's what I believe, and that's what I'm going to go with. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to go up there and to show that I can, I can destroy these boys. Like I just want to dismantle people. I want to be fighting the best and showing that I'm better.
Yeah, no, I get that completely, and I can't argue with you saying the lightweight division is one of the best in the UFC right now. That's stacked. I mean, Khabib versus Gaethje, who you got in that one?
Khabib. I just don't think you can. I just can't call it anywhere else. Like the Ferguson fight against him, I was always saying like I couldn't see Ferguson beating him just because he just has his A game there so well, and like Gaethje is a legit wrestler. But I just think after watching Gaethje's last fight, I just don't think he'll be able to do it. Do you know what I mean? I can just see Khabib taking him down and just controlling him.
Because he could be a welterweight as well, Khabib. There's always discussions of would he move up and fight a welterweight. I mean, I'd like to see a sort of crossover match between him and Usman, really, but I don't think it'll ever happen. But it would be quite an exciting fight to see, with both of them being so grappling heavy and big, strong guys as well.
Yeah, it's always exciting to see these crossweight matchups. But like I said, I just don't think Khabib's like he makes his weight decently. Like I think he's failed weight once or twice, but he sort of seems to have got it under control, and he's made weight the last twice. So big weight cuts, there's really small margins for an error. So if you do sort of mess up a little bit, it does throw you off. But I just can't see him moving. I can just see him dominating until he retires, to be honest. I'd love to fight Khabib. How you'd fight that fight is such a puzzle because he's so strong. The person I thought who could beat him, or had the most potential to beat him, was actually McGregor. Not because he could wrestle, but I just thought you could tag him and just hit him hard enough to knock him out before anything. Because striking-wise, that's where he's weak. But because everyone worries about the wrestling so much, they either overcommit and they show the hips, and then he gets under him. And he's very good when you get down. You are down. There is no getting back up. Like he's just going to keep wrapping you into knots until the ref tells you that's the end of the round. So Gaethje could particularly stop him, but I just can't see it. I'm interested in that fight though. Like that's the thing. All these fights, they match up so well, and you just really want to see it.
Is there anyone in particular, obviously, if you do get called up in November to the UFC, is there anyone in particular that you'd like to make your debut against? Obviously, Herbert coming off a loss against Trinaldo, but I mean, that was always going to be a hard fight for his debut, and he looked quite good in that fight, to be fair, until he just got caught. I mean, obviously, him being the Cage Warriors champion for you, is it something that you'll consider?
Yeah, I'd fight anyone. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I wish Jai all the best as a British guy. He was doing so well, and then obviously just as he come out, his hands went a little bit low, and he just got clipped. And I do think it was a late stoppage. I think it should have been stopped early. And himself, I don't think he was. He was out there, and I fully agreed with what Dan said after it.
Yeah.
Actually, I spoke to Dan after that fight and just said, obviously, thank you for looking at the interest of fighters, because that's what he was doing. He was looking after the interest of fighters. And I know if I got hit like that, and I was stiff the way Jai was, I want someone looking after me. But Jai did so well. Like it was a close first round, and then he dominated the second round. Like he destroyed Ronaldo in that second round. So I expected him to come out and sort of do the same thing in the third, and he just got clipped. But looking at Jai, as I was obviously, because I had already broke him down enough because I was looking to fight him. When Reece McGee knocked out Jai, Jai exited the pocket, so obviously the close range, and he drops, he relaxes a bit on the way out, and that's what happened with Trinaldo. He relaxed on the way out, and Trinaldo just caught him and slapped him, and that's the way it all happens. Like I said, it's a Shark Tank. If you make one little mistake, you bleed for a second, they'll rip you apart. I think Jai is going to go off with a bang in his next couple of fights. I think he's really going to get some wins under him, and like I said, I wish him all the best. He's a really nice guy, actually. Like me and Jai never had bad words there between us. I think the only person that had a bit of beef was Jai's girlfriend, Jay, and my brother. They had a bit of falling out on Instagram, but I had nothing but respect for Jai, and obviously I just wanted to fight. I just really wanted to fight him, and he's a legit guy, and like I said, I wish him all the best.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's good to see some respect between fellow fighters. Like I say, he did look really good in that fight and was winning the fight. It's just one of them things, isn't it? As soon as you switch off for a second, that's it. You get caught and it's over.
I understand. It's difficult. I mean, like I said, it's a Shark Tank. You bleed and they jump on top of it, and like I said, they'll tear you apart. And obviously, he just got caught. We all everyone's going to do it. Like I don't have that mentality of no one's ever going to knock me out. This is impossible again to knock me out, because I go in there with that mentality. I'm going to do everything I can, and I never ever have a moment of doubt that I'm going to win these fights. And I always know that I'm better than these boys. I know for a fact. But it's just the thing. It's like Habib knows as well. Habib knows that one day he could go in there and he could get knocked out, and that's just the way it is. That's the fighter's mentality. But I generally don't care. I don't. Like, you've got to kill me to stop me. Like, that's the thing. Like, you're gonna have to knock me out. Or you're gonna have to put me to sleep, because I'm just gonna keep coming at you over and over and over again, and I'm just gonna beat you. That's the way it's gonna go, and I'm gonna beat you in fashion. So
putting them on notice.
well, I've done that since the start. The Lawrence Tracy fight I called the whole division out, and I told them all I was coming from. And I ticked quite a lot off the list, to be honest. A lot of the top fighters I wanted to fight, I ticked off. The only people I didn't really get to fight was Reese, who obviously moved up.
Yeah.
There was... Who was it who fought Reese? What's his name? He fought Reese in Cage Warriors before Reese went. What's his name? Bald fella. I'm terrible with names, especially when I'm tired. I am. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was sort of floating around, and it looked like I was going to fight him, and then he lost to Reese, and I didn't really know what he was going to do. He knocked out Jakobsen. Was it the Perry Goodwin, the Predator?
Yeah.
I actually signed a contract to fight him, and I didn't hear anything back, and then they offered me a new opponent. So I think he actually asked to fight Jakobsen on that fight when they offered him me, and then that was when he knocked Jakobsen out. So obviously, Jakobsen at one time was on my list, and Jakobsen just kept getting beat by everyone. But Joe was on my list, McColgan. I beat Joe, and I have Jeremy got a list. It was a list I made when before I made my debut. I went to watch it, and I looked through all the division, and there was a list of the fighters I wanted to fight. It was Donovan Desme, who I beat.
Desme, yeah.
Joe McColgan. It was Soren Bach, who's got a Bellator. It was Jakobsen. And there was one more who obviously you won't say, but there was one more on that list, and obviously I managed to tick off two of the names, Joe and Desme. Whether I take a rest off is looking doubtful now, but you never know. Do you know what I mean? But when I go to UFC, I'll do the same thing. I'm going to make a list, and these are going to be the guys who want to fight. People like Dustin Poirier, Dan Hooker, Paul Felder. Obviously, Paul Felder, I think he's retired now. I'm not too sure.
Say, I don't know what's happening with him. I think he was sort of weighing up his options and seeing what's what.
Barbosa's gone down. But it's just all these Russians coming through. Do you know what I mean? They are monsters. So there'll be people I want to fight, and there'll be people I can get into some good wars with. And I love battering Russians. So we'll have a go at that, and maybe I can get my chance.
Nice to hear, mate. Nice to hear. Obviously, just one final thing. Going back to your Welsh links and Team Alpha Male links, Corey McKenna as well. She's due to fight on the Contender Series, I believe. Yeah,
Corey's awesome. Like, I bump into a lot out in Team Alpha Male, and we always have a good laugh, always have a good chat. So I wish her all the best. Do you know what I mean? You want to see these people do well. Like, I want to see Corey tear the Contender up. Hopefully won't get signed before me. But I can see her getting signed. I mean, like, she trains hard, she does well, she's always improving, and she'll do well in UFC. Like, she will do well. So it's nice to see she sort of gets what she deserves, and I hope she does. I really do wish her all the best. So obviously she's fighting next Wednesday. It's not Wednesdays, it's next Saturday, isn't it? A week Saturday. No, it's in the weekend, isn't it?
No, it's on a weekday, isn't it? Contender Series. Wednesday.
She was either Wednesday or Tuesday. Don't quote me on that, but obviously
midweek sometime.
The Contender. Check it out. Give a shout out to Corey. Cheer her on from home. Let's watch the Welsh do well. Do you know what I mean? Let's get behind each other, and let's just see her dominate. She's fighting a girl who's got a similar record to her. I think it's an Italian girl. Probably not. I'm terrible. Like I said, my memory is. It's because I'm tired. I'm shattered today. Like I said, I've had a hard day. So, but yeah, she's gonna smash it up, and I really can't wait to see her get signed, and hopefully I'll be on the same card with her in November.
Yeah, I was going to say another young Welsh prospect. It seems to be like a lot of Welsh MMA fighters, quite young, coming through. I mean, obviously you had no amateur bouts. It was straight into the pro ranks. I mean,
I had one fight.
Oh, was it one amateur fight? Was it?
Yeah. Well, I had like 3 They weren't really amateur fights when I was like 15. It was on the old strike and grapple rules, so they didn't really count them back then. It was like no headshots. Do you know what I mean? No headshot rules. I think it may have been I made a headshot standing up. No headshot. I don't know. One of them. But I did.
I was thinking like MMA, like full MMA rules.
Yeah, well, they changed back then. Like, so obviously they were when I was 15, so they were actually MMA bouts back then. Like a lot of that was where like Duffy and all come through, Jack, Richard Shaw and all. They were all on the same circuits. Then when I made I tried to make my pro debut. My opponent failed his medicals. They found me a new opponent who failed his medicals, so I fought a unified amateur bout on Cage Warriors. That was against, what's his name? Donis something. I finished him in the first round with Kimura, I think. But yeah, so I had one unified amateur bout and then 9 pro fights. So it should be 10-0 as a pro, but my first opponent, failed brain scans, and then second opponent failed his eye test. He had a split through his retina. So they were the first fights where they introduced the safe MMA checks, and just shows why they should.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's got to be. It's good to see safety being taken seriously in such a hard sport as well. Obviously with Jai and Dan stepping up, to see Jai, it's always good to see fighters being looked out for. You've got to protect the fighters. Obviously, a lot of people in there are young these days. You've got Chase Hooper, who's 20 years old in the UFC. So when you've got fighters getting in the cage so young, you've got to really look out for their safety.
Well, UFC is brilliant on that. Like the health checks, they look after a lot of their food leading up to weight cuts. They making sure that they are eating the right things, and that they try and make the weight cuts as easy as possible from. And they've got their own professionals who will help them make weight, so that people are recovering well after weight. So there's no stupid mistakes where people can't stand on scales and then they're, like I said, making amateur mistakes of trying to eat before they hydrate and stuff like that. And they really look after their fighters now. So, now they always have, but now there's more services available. And there's sort of less reasons to miss weight, and the health checks are a lot more strenuous. So, like, obviously you have less and less instances of people finishing a fight, seeing the doctor, and then going back and sort of like collapsing or taking a fall afterwards, which does still happen, mind, because there's only so much a doctor can do. Like, they can give you a pre-fight, post-fight check. They can look at your brain. They can look at your eyes. They can check you, and they can say, "Look, I'm quite happy with it. Sign you off." And then you go back and you collapse in an elevator on the way up to the hotel room. Do you know what I mean? Which has happened in UFC before. So they are doing that.
Last weekend there was 2, wasn't there? Giles fainted before he even walked out, and then Calderwood, after her fight, collapsed and got rushed to hospital. So it's scary even when you're not in the cage, really.
But this is the thing. Like, there's ambulances waiting. Like, they've got strict medical procedures, and like UFC is so professionally well run. So like, obviously Bellator pays better than UFC. I don't care what people say. They pay lower ranks better, but no one wants to fight in Bellator. No one does. Like, everyone's first shout is to fight in UFC.
It's the pinnacle.
Pinnacle. And it's like, but this is why I've always said, people don't go up to you on the street, like dirty casuals don't go up to you on the street and say, "Oh, you that UFC fighter." Sorry, they don't go up to you and say, "Oh, you that Bellator fighter." They say, "Oh, do you do that UFC stuff?" That's the thing. UFC is at the minute the peak for Western martial arts. Like, obviously, one is massive in the Eastern sort of countries, and they're really flying. But I just think UFC's done so well, and if they can really sort of get some more back in and really start pumping the fighters' paychecks up, especially at the top level, then the sky's the limit for them. But boxing took a long time, and boxing pays lower ranked fighters absolute dirt. Like, they literally take the piss. So I pro boxed before I went back into MMA just because I wanted to prove my hands. I planned on having 10 fights. I managed to get 3, and I had 6 cancelled on me. Multiple of them were fights where they didn't ring me to tell me that the fights where all the shows are off. I just got called by reporters and said, like, "What do you think about the show being cancelled?" Like, "What do you mean the show's cancelled?" No one's told me. Rung my manager, going like, what the hell's happened? Why haven't you done this? Why haven't you done that? Like, angry because I'm tired, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, and I'm cutting weight. And they have told me, and he's like, "Look," he's like, "I haven't heard anything." But that's boxing for you, do you know what I mean? So MMA's on the right track. They look after fighters. They guarantee you fights. if your fight gets cancelled under a Cage Warriors bout, then something's, do you know what I mean? Something's really gone wrong. Something has really badly gone wrong. So obviously with Danilo and the pull out with the COVID issues, I think he had medical problems before the COVID shut Italy down. They found me an Italian fighter who failed his medical, so they found me Joe. Do you know what I mean? This is what they do. They just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
There we go, done. So it's the best European promotion to be in, and I'm so happy to be at the forefront, to be carrying the belt, and to really be pushing. And keep an eye out Monday. If you're watching this, you've stuck all the way through this because I do talk too much. But you've stuck. Have a look Monday.
Monday.
Gonna spice up your Monday. Like, that is going to be something that you're going to be like, oh shit, I wish I'd interviewed him, or I wish I'd seen an interview after the fight against announcement, because it is a ballsy move, and you are going to love it.
Well, I work 8 till 5. So I mean, what time are you planning on announcing it? And I'll look at my phone.
Not me. It's Cage Warriors. Whenever they announce it.
Oh, they'll put it out, will they? Oh, okay.
They put it out. They just told me they're releasing it on Monday. So they told me today, actually, because I'm doing an interview on Sunday with BBC Wales, I think. So they said, look, you speak to them because we're going to release on Monday. So I don't know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say. But I'm excited. I feel good. Everything's going well. And you're going to see the best Mason the Dragon Jones that you've ever seen.
Double-digit pro fight, ready for the first title defense. Gonna smash it.
Quick before I go, quick shout out to Tammy Fightwear, PP Builders, CCS Scaffolding, SD Sealants, Precision Hydration, who now give me an ambassador sponsorship because I love their products. Paul Aaron Nutrition, Candle Talent, and let's give Peyton Seekers a shout out as well because they did support the last one. But all these companies, they really help out. And I'm waiting until my fight is announced before I start looking for more sponsors, and then I'm going to put an ad out. But just keep an eye on my profiles. My Instagram's the best, so at Mason Jones 95. I reply to everyone on Instagram, which does my girlfriend's head in. But if you want to drop me a message, you want to tell me I'm shit, or if you want to drop me a message and say, well done, we enjoy watching you, keep up the good work, which does really make my day. Drop me a message, and I will get back to you. Just don't bombard me with messages, please. I have some people who want to speak to me every day, and I'm like, no, I'm busy. You know what I mean? I got things to do. But yeah, if you're a fan, drop me a message. I love getting in touch. And if you want to tell me I'm shit, drop me a message. I love it. So it really spurs me on. But thanks for having me on. And like I said, drop me a follow. Keep an eye out. My fight news is going to be released Monday, and it's going to blow the roof off.
Mate, thank you for joining us. I know I dropped you a DM, so it was quite good that you sort of reached back to me. So I appreciate that. Hopefully, it didn't piss you off or your girlfriend off too much.
Like I said, anytime you want to do an interview, you drop me a message. I'm always happy to do them. This is good practice for me. Like when I'm in UFC now, I'm going to be speaking like a pro. Obviously, a lot slower than this. So anyone who's not Welsh can understand what I'm saying. Understand the lingo, yeah. But thanks for the practice. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is really helping me, and I love going on and talking.
I was going to say thank you as well. Obviously, I've not had the page long, so I appreciate all the support from everyone and all the fighters wanting to jump on board.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thanks for your time today, Mason.
See you soon. Thank you, bud.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Bye.